Welcome back to Perks Recap Podcast, Yankees edition. Gotta have my sip of coffee for all the talking I'm about to do. Okay, this season, I'm just gonna let you guys know, these podcasts are going to be few and far between, but fair not. The long format, where I'm going to talk for 20, 30 minutes or whatever, is going to be, like I said, few and far between. What I'm going to do is do shorts, like YouTube shorts. Those are up to 3 minutes long, and those will be video as well. And I'm going to try to do those after every series, kind of like what I did last year where I did a podcast after every series. I'm going to do a short after every series and give my thoughts on the team. I'm not going to go stat for stat like I did last year. There's no reason to do that. You guys can look up all the stats yourself. I'll highlight some things that I want to talk about in terms of the stats, but just basically my opinion on the team and where they're playing, how they're playing and the games that just happened, in the series. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be looking for YouTube shorts after this one. So this one is going to include the first 3 games and then also my overall feeling on the team coming, for the coming season or the season that's here, but for the rest of the way. So let's get into it. Concerns. I have some concerns, obviously. Bottom of the lineup can stink. That's basically my big concern of mine. The bottom of the lineup might actually stink, and we can't have 7, 8, and 9 with the guys, Wells and McMahon and Caballero and Volpe when he comes back. All those guys coming up and batting 200 or less or 210 or, can one of these guys bat 250, please? Dare I say 2 of them bat 250? I'm not asking for 280 or 300. 250 is not too much to ask. That's all there is to it. So I'm asking for 250. You know what? 240, 245. I'll take it. Just don't give me 210 or 190 because that's on the table and we can't endure that. And there's another thing. 3 guys at the bottom of the lineup batting that low with a ton of strikeouts. Can't depend on them for anything. So there's my first concern is what happens if all 3 of those guys do what they've basically been doing their entire career, or at least the last couple of years with the Yankees, and batting very, very poorly. And Volpe's part of that as well, even though he's not playing right now. He's going to be playing once he's healthy. Another concern, more of a question, can Trent Grisham do it again, is the question. Because if he goes back to what he was 2 years ago, he's another guy we can't play. Although there's answers if he's batting 210 or something with 4 homers in June, he'll be gone or be a backup in Dominguez or Jones will be in center field, or Jones will be in center field, or Dominguez will be in left and Bellinger in center, whatever. One of those 2, Dominguez or Jones, will take his spot. So I'm not as concerned with that. That's why it's not my number 1 concern, is because I think if he falters, then we've got some options at least that I can feel good about. But it's on the table that he could falter, and how long does it take for them to realize that they got to move on while he's stinking, while you're getting nothing from him for how many weeks? Dare I say, how many months is it going to take for them to finally pull the trigger and sit him down and call up one of these kids? Or the flip side is last year is more what he really has become, and he is a solid 250, 260 hitter with 30 home run power and good on base skills. If that's what it is, then even better. It's all gravy. That's great. But the concern is there that he might stink, and how long will it take for them to realize? Okay, Next is the bullpen. The bullpen, we've got Dotel, who I have good feelings about this year. I think he needed last year to kind of settle in. Bednar settled in right off the bat, looks okay. So I'm not worried about the 8th and ninth per se for the most part, but getting there. We've got a lot of question marks. So I got to see the bullpen pitch better. Or not even pitch, just pitch. I got to see what they are. The Yankees have been very good. You can't deny it. They've been very good with their bullpens over the years. Cashman, for all his faults and all the people want to trash on him, you can't deny that there are times when their bullpen is a bunch of no-name guys like they are now, and they're all good. And the Yankees end up with a really, really good bullpen. It becomes a strength of the team. That's what I'm hoping for again. But there's caveats to this season that are different. You've got guys like Weathers, who is starting today. I'm recording this podcast before Game 4 on Monday against Seattle. Weathers is starting. Weathers will not be in the rotation when everybody gets healthy. He can go in the bullpen. Luis Heel. He's in the minors right now. He's probably going to get called up to be the 5th starter until we get healthy again. And once we get healthy, he can go in the bullpen. And he actually, to me, kind of suits the bullpen. He almost suits like a closer role to me. I could see that in his future. But, of course, they're going to try to make him a starter. But regardless, they're going to have too many guys. They got the Weathers. They're going to have him. They've got extra guys that they're going to have to do something with once everybody gets healthy. Now, of course, you never know who else is going to get hurt and who else is going to need, to be filled in. And don't forget, Clark Schmidt will be back late in the year. I'm thinking like September. But if he comes back and he's Clark Schmidt, there's another guy. So the bullpen can look differently with just the guys we have. Just the starters we have that we won't be able to use in the rotation. So there's options there. But until then, and throughout the year, we're going to need these guys regardless. I want to see what this bullpen looks like. I'm a little concerned. What if that Yankee magic with the bullpen doesn't work this year and they stink? Possible. Okay, health, of course, always health is a concern. We can't have major injuries to the major guys. We all know that, and that's true with every team. So I'm not going to really get into to that too much. And then more specifically, starting pitching health. We got a lot of guys. We got 3 starters coming back from injuries, and they might not all come back looking like their former self. And what do you do then? Major decisions to be made if not. Okay, so real quick run through Game 1. Judge stinks, right? Judge 0 for 5, took the collar, 4 strikeouts. They scored 7 runs without hitting a home run. I can't remember the last time that happened. And Max Fried was phenomenal, picked up right where he left off last year and shut out the Giants. Just great outing. Great outing for Max Fried. The seven runs with no home runs, the bottom of the lineup for Game 1 answered the bell. They answered the call. And, they passed that first test. They played really well. They all hit really well. And the bottom of the lineup came through in that 7-run outburst. I don't know if I want to call it an outburst, but when they scored 7 runs and won the game 7-0, they didn't give up any runs at all. Then you got Game 2. Judge and Stanton hit a home run each. The Yankees are 53-7 when Judge and Stanton both hit a home run in a game. So obviously they've done it 60 times. They've won 53 of them. So when they do that, they win. The story of this game and the story of the season so far is Cam Schlittler looks like the real deal. I'm trying so hard to temper expectations. everything you see about him you love. And then he comes out and he gets 8 strikeouts, gives up 1 hit, no walks in like 6 innings, whatever it was. And he's lights out, doesn't give up a run. So for the first outing, my goodness, the bullpen comes on, gets the job done, and the Yankees shut them out again. The Yankees go to the first 2 games with 2 straight shutouts. Cam Schlittler looks like a stud. I am, I just hope, I'm just hoping against hope that, he stays healthy. He throws so hard. And what the problem is. Guys who throw that hard for that long have they're like a ticking time bomb. There's an expiration date on that ligament in his arm, and it's going to go off at some point. I mean, he could be like a horse and do it for 10 years, like a Garrett Cole who did it for a long time. He was a horse. He threw a ton of innings, threw really hard, but even he got bit in his mid-30s. He's coming off the Tommy John right now, still recovering. It's almost like a given that he's going to need it at some point. I just hope we can get 5 or 6 years of great ace-level production from him before it happens. Yeah, because like I said, it's like a foregone conclusion it's going to happen. And then, he'll miss that year, hopefully come back, and he's good. One good thing is these guys get it, and there's varying degrees of how long it takes for them to get back and how long it takes for them to get back to their real, true form. It might be almost like 1 season with the injury. The next season you come back, but you're not yourself. And then the season after that is when you really start to get it back into form to what you were before you got the injury. So it's like a 2 or 3 year thing, really, when you get that injury. And I don't want it now. I don't want it this year. I'm just so nervous about it this year. He throws 100 miles an hour. I don't want it next year. Like I said, give me 4 or 5 years at least. I would love it if he can do like a Cole and give me 9 or 10 years, and then, that would be phenomenal. He's a big kid. He's a strong kid. So maybe he can endure better than most. We'll have to see. Fingers crossed. The other thing about Game 2 was Ben Rice didn't play because they were going against the lefty Robbie Ray, a lefty. I think the lefty plan needs to be Ben Rice at catcher, Wells sits, and Goldschmidt plays first. Goldschmidt subbing in for Rice and Rice not playing shouldn't be the option right now. Ben Rice could be a star. The Yankees look at him as almost as a 40 home run guy and a star in this league and a guy they can really build around and be one of their major cogs. Well, you got to give him the opportunity. He's got to be able to play against lefties. That's all there is to it, because you got to see if he can hit them. He didn't hit them all that well up until this point, but if you really believe in him, you got to give him more opportunities against lefties. Maybe he's learned something. Maybe he can get better, but he's not going to get better at him if you don't play him against lefties. He can't be a platoon guy, even on the right side of the platoon. It doesn't matter. He needs to play against the lefties, and if you get a good sample size this season, and it's like the All-Star break, and the All-Star break is not really at the halfway point. It's well into the second half of the season. So you get to that point, 90 games in, 80 games in, or 90 games in anyway, in that range. And he's still struggling against the lefties. You've been playing him right along against lefties all along in those 90 games. Then maybe you make the decision, okay, let's just platoon him, only play against the righties, and then, we'll work on it in the offseason and we'll try again next year. I can see that. But you got to give him the chance. What if he comes out and he learns something clicks, and he's just as good against lefties as he is against righties? What a weapon, what a bat that would be in the lineup. He looks better at first base as well. His scoop and everything, he looks much better at first base. Goldschmidt there, I think, can help him with his defense. I think that was a focus for him. So I'm all on board with Ben Rice. And I would catch him once a week or whenever you're going to play against a lefty, at least sometimes. Goldschmidt, I know he's on the team. You got to put him in there sometimes, and he does hit lefties really well, so that's why you have Goldschmidt in there. But I would not do it at the expense of Rice. I would do it at the expense of Wells. Now, if Wells is hitting really well too, we'll have another discussion. But let's see. Let's get there first. Game 3, Judge hits another home run. He is 2 for 13 on the season. Not very good batting average-wise, but 2 home runs 2 days in a row. And the bottom of the lineup, what I was worried about, one of my concerns when I first started this, I said the bottom of the lineup could be bad, could be a concern. They went 0 for 15 combined. 7, 8, and 9. 0 for 15. But Will Warren gave up 1 run, the only run the Yankees gave up this entire series. They went 3 games to open the season and gave up 1 run in all 3 games combined. And Will Warren, even just giving up the 1 run, pitched really well. So I have, high hopes for him. We'll have to see where he goes. So there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of things that could happen. There's a lot of ways it could go. Of course, the injuries that you can't predict. Other things that you just can't predict are going to happen. I'll be here with you right along. Every chance I get, I'll be doing these kind of long format shows. And then more often than not, it's going to be the YouTube shorts, 3 minutes long. Look for those on the same channel here. And those will be up on a regular basis as the season goes on, giving my thoughts. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Baseball is back. Game 4 tonight, Yankees, Mariners, weather's on the hill. And until next time, I will see you later.